Yo, what is going on, everybody? Looks like we are live. Welcome to this week's episode of Married with Issues Live, issue 62 this week.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Joined
Good to
by
see
the
you.
crazy Fusha Only, as always.
The notorious crazy one. Thanks, Kavi, for joining us. Do appreciate seeing you. We watched your tour video that you had done, and it was great. I really like the setup.
Yeah, Comic Books NYC's Man Cave tour.
Mm-hmm. That was actually a submission for another contest at Metarog, was it?
Well, I think it was for Man Caves.
Man Caves, yeah, not Metarog. Man Caves, yeah. That's right, Man Cave. I'm a special kind of special, guys. I forget my own name. Hey, Dylan, good to see you. Thanks for joining us as well. Barbarian! It's Barbarian Kung Fu.
Barbarian Kung Fu, werewolf by lunchtime.
Thanks so much for joining us today, guys.
Yeah, welcome everyone. Hope everyone's having a good weekend.
We don't have too much. At least I kept my pile short this week. See?
Yeah, so yeah.
I only have a few, not a lot. But yeah, hope you are all doing well, and thanks for joining us. I still get used to this thing being out.
I know. It is a little different with this like counter like right above us, but
it really is. Adjustment.
We'll get the hang of it, and apologize if you're listening to this on podcast format later. I'm sure you hear those bumps.
It's been a long week.
Pretty good.
But I'm glad it's Saturday. I'm really glad it's Saturday.
But yeah, if you are listening to this later on podcast format, you can check these out live every Saturday at youtube.com/c/marriedwithissues at 4 p.m. Mountain. That's 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, I believe.
I do got quite a few good books to show. I got two old ones that I was collecting for a while. And then I went through a phase where I was buying a lot of them every time we'd go. And then I realized I wasn't getting as many. And then when I saw them in the prices marked today, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to get these. So you will see those lunchtime. Werewolf by lunchtime. We do got a few books to show. I don't have too many.
Yeah, so I mean kind of the main thing. Well, I don't know. We actually kind of do have a bit of stuff to get to, but it's like a bunch of different stuff. So for issue 62, fan casting the Netflix adaptation of the Sandman.
Yes, I saw an interview with Neil Gaiman last night on YouTube that was really good. He gave a little insight of how they are going through the casting process at this time for Sandman, but they also hinted that some of the major details are going to be changed and adapted to a more modern feel or theme.
Yeah,
I'm super stoked for it. Which reminds me, I need to send that to my mom. I was gonna tell her to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot.
Yeah,
I'll have to do that.
She's a really big Neil Gaiman fan as well.
Neil Gaiman is the best. He's one of my favorite authors ever.
Yeah, mine as well.
Public speaker even. I could read him. I could listen to him just read the dictionary.
The phone book.
Yeah.
For real, like
Neil Gaiman, some good stuff.
And he has kept asking himself during this process is, what if he's pretty much imagining it, what if I was to write Sandman today?
Exactly. Yeah, that's what
why not? That's just a slightly different way of wording it than you had it, but
in other words, let's put it into soldier speech. Fusha didn't say it right. I'm kidding.
So, but for instance, though, it's actually to the point to where where Morpheus has been captive for like 150 years instead of the 70 or whatever it was in the original Sandman.
Right. Either way, I'm super stoked for it. I'm excited, and I'm gonna have to post that YouTube video later.
Yeah, it was a really good interview.
But yeah, so I don't know what format you have, so I'm just
see this right here.
Oh,
down the line.
I'm a special kind of special that doesn't listen, like
at all,
ever. It's a work in progress, I promise. I'm trying to listen better. I have a terrible habit of select listening. But yeah, no. So these are the two older ones that I got today that I was super stoked for. It's an area adventure in a land that may not exist. 30-cent, number 92, Green Arrow, Green Lantern. Because we went on a kick for a little bit, and it's even newsstand. See? Isn't that glorious?
Oh, yeah, it is.
We went on a kick for a while where it's like almost every time we went to the comic book store, I was looking for some of these because I really want to collect all of the Green Lantern, Green Arrows. So this is just part of like one of my series that I'm trying to collect all of is just the Green Lantern, Green Arrow single issues. And I had to. No use struggling work cut. See?
And we actually have the absolute of most of that run. I mean, it's mainly centered around Neil Adams. I believe Denny O'Neill and Neil Adams.
I think so.
Part of that run, and I definitely really want to get to reading that.
My wife only likes his book stuff, but I prefer his comic stuff.
Yeah, same here.
Same.
Yeah.
And then the one other one, while he gets.
You can go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, you should go ahead because that one's keeping in theme.
Yes. So then this is another one that I got today, and I had to. It was 103, and it was out in April, and I had to. But it's another Green Lantern, Green Arrow. And another newsstand, nonetheless. I got this for like a couple bucks. It was a good deal.
Super clean and super good price on those, too, because we've seen that series.
Oh, they're always good priced there at Volts.
Yeah, our main LCS.
But yeah, it's even got Black Canary, and it's like a back out Green Lantern, turn off your power ring. But yeah, I really love collecting these ones because Green Arrow is just one of my favorite characters, and then to have him with Green Lantern in a Green Lantern series, it's just, and it's like an infinite number of Team Up Tuesdays.
Oh yeah.
So you may see one of these done Tuesday as a Team Up Tuesday on my Instagram. If I actually post stuff, because like this past week I haven't been responding to tags and stuff. I've just kind of been like acknowledging them a little bit, but then also just so drained and tired from working 6 days in a row.
Yeah.
10:30 to 7.
This week
like,
at the new job.
It was a rough week.
Yeah, it was.
Oh yeah, because did we tell you guys you got a new job last time?
I think you might have mentioned something.
I think so.
I think we might have mentioned it last show, but
yeah, we did because I moved the desk over. Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking how my setup's like right here for work.
Yeah, he had to go into the office this week, and then next week he'll be back working from home, and I'm still working from home. So, yeah.
Yo,
hey,
newbie comics. What's going on, buddy? Hope you're having a good weekend.
Look at that. We were in sync that time.
Yeah, I know that time we were, huh?
It happens.
Okay, so the first one I have from today, this one, I actually didn't even know issue 3 had came out. So I had to have our LCS order it. So, but here's so it's the X-Men and Fantastic Four miniseries, issue 4. And I think this is the last one because I think it was only going to be 4 issues.
I think you're right. I'm pretty sure it was only going to be.
And what was really interesting about this,
there's a bunch of variants left.
Yeah, so every time before, usually it's a bunch of the regular cover and then 1, maybe 2, a couple of the variant, if at all.
Exactly.
In this case, there was like 5 or 6 of this variant and none.
Hey, Kachoon! Thanks for joining us. I'm sure Delphia is nearby. Hello, Delphia.
Hey, Kachoon
as well.
and Delphia.
Yeah, that's.
It was weird. I've never seen that before.
Yeah. Well, and it's like we were talking earlier, it's the whole connecting covers that went across that series. Were they the cover A or were they a variant? Because most often you would think they're a variant, but for them to be connecting over 4 or 5 books, whereas usually connecting covers are like 3 to 4 books, or like the fold out ones that have a
like the gatefolds.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I know we never.
And what she's actually talking about is Mark Brooks is doing covers on this series, where he's doing a connecting across all 4 that is just insane. And
I actually really want to get it because it has like Doom and all of the other characters. Like just it's
kind of like the whole
really
Marvel
badass.
universe.
Yeah.
Either that or it's all just either the X-Men and Fantastic Four. Either way, it's a bunch of characters, in front of Doom.
Yeah.
And it's by Mark Brooks, one of my favorite artists. And
I'm going to want to
I don't know. I just don't think it's the main cover because for issues 1 and 2, I'm pretty sure I thought I had the main cover, and it was the Terry Dodson covers, I think.
We're gonna have to look it up and see because I'm curious.
And for that cover and for the quality that that cover is, I don't think it's the main one. I think it's definitely a variant cover and then the connecting variants.
Oh, poor newbie comics. I fell asleep in the backyard and may or may not have sunglasses tan lines.
Oh no.
That happens to me. I know, like, when it gets warmer and I want to wear more just like tank tops, what always prevents me is this like major farmer's tan.
Yeah.
Some days I don't care. Other days I'm like, I don't want to show my farmer's tan. But it's the sun and what it does. When I was at like in junior high or elementary, I would get like stickers and I would like stick them on like my ankle or whatever, and then I'd go out and tan, and then I'd peel off the sticker.
So you had the little sticker.
Yes, and then I'd have like the little star or the shape or the heart. And
I remember when people, I remember when
kinda
chicks
fun.
would do that back in high school.
Back in the days.
Like they do it like on their like hip or
I was young once, guys.
Once.
A long time ago.
Yo, Kavi,
In
what's
another
going on, brother?
dimension. In another dimension.
Yeah, looks like
Hey.
Kavi dropped back in. Because he was first. He was in here, I think, like half hour before showtime.
Yeah, because last week we were late to our own show again.
Oh yeah, all the time.
Usually. That's like the one thing you guys can at least expect out of us in our inconsistencies, that we're almost always late for our own show.
I know, which I really hate doing it.
Well, then we got to work on it,
I
you
know,
know?
we
If
really
you
do.
hate it, do something about it. Actions speak louder than words.
I know.
We just got to do it.
So
It's easier said than done.
exactly.
But
Especially when
it's
you have super duper scatterbrains like we do.
I don't even know how we're still alive.
So we did get a couple of the free comic book. I guess
You
it's
did.
not free comic book day. I guess it's free comic book summer.
I
this year.
kind of glanced at them, and I think all the ones that I would have grabbed are the ones that you already
I
had.
already had, yeah.
So I'm like, nah, I don't really need
but
them.
the thing is if any of you guys weren't able to get any, like,
yes,
because ours had a bunch. Of
they did,
everything.
and they were the same ones that were there last week, and there were still quite a few of them.
No,
So-
there's some different ones this week.
Oh,
This okay, so the one I'm holding up right now is the Horizon Zero Dawn.
maybe that's because I didn't look.
This one wasn't there last week.
Oh.
And this is actually a prelude to an ongoing series that Titan is going to be, I believe Titan, is going to be putting out. And it's
To be-
Horizon Zero Dawn based off the PlayStation exclusive game, which is fantastic.
To be fair, I don't think I took that close of a look at it last week.
You didn't.
I usually don't. I like have selective attention
And this
span.
is the main free comic book one that I was hoping for, and I'm glad our LCS had boatloads.
I wish there would have been a real free comic book day this year too. I wish that there would have been a lot of cons, and I'm just
I know. I missed our two local cons we have every year here.
there was the Wasatch one that was going to be the weekend of my birthday, but I am grateful that we at least got the main frame Comic-Con experience that
Yeah.
Comic Core put on. That was just so brilliantly put together and just so well orchestrated that it made my birthday weekend in quarantine worth it. You know, it's like we
Yeah.
did our show that time, but then we were also in the mainframe live feed for hours.
Mhm.
You know, it was incredible.
Yeah, all
So-
weekend. And yeah, shout out to Comic Core and Chuck
Mhm.
Load. That helped him out quite a bit with that.
It was awesome. You guys all did a good job.
I'm stoked to
And-
see if something next year.
There might be.
Even if we're somewhat back to somewhat of a normal, but
This one, guys, though.
I'm curious for the future to see if we see more stuff like this, like the digital cons,
Yeah.
even when we're back to quote unquote normal. Go ahead.
Possibly. No, and it's like even like with celebrities these days, it's like they realize that, you're seeing them more on social media now, and it's like, yeah, you guys ain't
Just
much different
everything.
from us. Like,
Yeah.
only big difference is you got money and people want to take your picture, but yeah. Anyways, out of that rabbit hole. What this one though is fire. I am so excited to read this one. We didn't get back in enough time for me to read it before the show, but it has just been so damn good. How to Get Daredevil. It's gotten to the point where, because it used to be a soldier that would get the Daredevil books and then he'd give them to me to read. And so now it's gotten to the point where when we go to the LCS and they grab our hold out of the boxes, I separate for what's his and what's mine, so that we can budget together and work it out to where it's fair, his and hers.
Especially for his and hers, where we have the same budget. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because we got to be kind of fair, meet halfway, 50-50 is just how it goes. But I always end up putting this one on my side of the stack of, nope, this one's going to be mine. And I almost always end up reading it first now.
Yeah.
And so this is Daredevil 21. And I am so stoked because he is back in the suit.
Yep, we got him.
And
That cover.
That stinger page of the last issue
Yeah.
was so good. Like, this is such an underrated series right now. If you're not reading it, you're definitely missing out. Like, this has just been fire.
Yeah, and
it's been so good. Like, I'm gonna read it right after the show.
And here's the thing. I mean, both of us have been pretty outspoken about that being our favorite series going on right now. But the funny thing is, to your point, it is underrated. But we are seeing it talked about somewhat. By other people.
Yeah. So it's not as underrated.
But my pressing issue later tonight is on a series that's almost just as good that I've never seen anyone talking about.
Right.
But we'll get to that when we get to that.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there. No, what you reminded me of that I remembered was I had actually taken a picture, but I didn't post it because it was actually this series with Daredevil, where it was one of the last 1 to 2 issues that I read. No, it was a couple months ago, so maybe it was an older issue. But to the point is, I had read the issue. I thought it was so good. I loved it. I'm like, I need somebody to talk to about it right now. And so I turned to you. I was like, you need to read it. You need to read it. And so it got to the point where he doesn't have a lamp out there in the living room, so it kind of gets dark on his side of the couch where he usually reads, and I have the light over on my end. But I was so eager for him to read it that I literally put the flashlight on my phone and held it just behind him so that he could clearly see the panels and the very clearly read it. And I never actually ended up posting the picture, but I do still have it to where it's
yeah, we still need to post that.
Yeah, I was just that eager, and then I was like, okay,
You're literally holding the cell phone.
Yeah, for the entire time of him reading Daredevil, which is actually pretty funny because he says I read them a lot faster than he does, which is kind of true.
Yeah.
But I was still so willing to just sit there with my arm up, just so that my flashlight could be on it for him to read, and I should definitely post that.
And it was worth it. That issue specifically had some of Marco Cicchetto, who I'm constantly praising. He had some killer panels, killer action scenes. I mean, that car crashes, and
it spoke for itself as to why I was like, you need to read it, because
it did.
I put it in front of him. It's like, you need to read it, and then 5 minutes later, it's like, no, you need to read it, and it's like okay,
read it right now. No, right now, read it, right now.
Exactly, and it was so worth it. And I'm like, yep. Had to, and then it was such a good issue. So it's not as underrated as it could kind of be, because like you said, there is quite a few that are reading it.
Just for how good it is, I would still call it underrated, though.
Yeah, there's different levels to it, so that makes sense.
It should be more praised and stuff.
I agree.
And actually, speaking of praise and all that, within the industry, we'll be getting into the 2020 Eisner Awards later.
I'm going to be sure to tune into that, Kachun. He's going to be doing his show with Bake at 7. So the Cosplay to Comics show. Are you guys going to do that every week or every other week? Because, we'll definitely be watching that one tonight. Yeah.
So this is actually the last free comic book one. It's the Overstreet Guide to Collecting. It's got Usagi on the cover.
And did we forget to tell him about the Vampirella Arthur Sidon book?
Well, we just barely found about that yesterday or the day before. So
no, last night from Barbarian, because he posted it, and I'm like, wait, I know you're gonna need this cover. Barbarian
do you mean did we forget to tell RLCS about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, we'll have to send him an email.
I thought you meant the show. But no, you meant RLCS. Speaking of that,
I don't know how we carry on a conversation some days.
I don't know, because you're talking about one thing, I'm talking about the other.
Always.
So this isn't the Vampirella series that I've been
this
reading.
This is a different one. Because the one that's coming out in October 7th is a new series. It's going to be Dynamite, and it'll be a #1. But there's an Arthur Sidon variant where she's zombified coming out of her grave, and it's Here Lies
something
Vampirella Hereafter.
Hereafter, yeah.
It's a really killer cover, and I can't wait for it to come
But
out.
so this is Vengeance of Vampirella, but I've been reading the Christopher Priest just Vampirella, just the main one. But this
Was it cover by?
definitely a cover by Lucio Perio.
Oh, okay. So they will be hopefully every week going through the process of cosplay a bit at a time, maybe some live building. Tonight we're talking concept mainly. That's dope. That
Which
sounds
yeah,
really
it's awesome
awesome.
because I mean there isn't really too many, at least that I know of. I mean I could be totally wrong, but I mean like in the community there isn't. I mean there is like a good
There's
amount
other
that cosplay, but
but
I mean to the level that like Dopey and Kachung are.
yeah,
There isn't too many, I
there's
don't
like
think.
Allison Tabitha, how she does so many of
Oh
her,
wow.
like she's incredible. She is so good, and it's so awesome to be able to see how, because you notice with each cosplayer they do it a little different. You know, there's a different way. There's no wrong way to do it. Well, there could be.
There can be,
but
yeah.
but
I
there's
know what
going to
you
be
mean, though.
multiple ways of how, not one and the same person are going to think of the same approach for
Yeah.
a piece that has to be created, but it's
Well,
really awesome
it's
to
an
see
art
more
form, it's just like any other art
bringing
form.
it to life, and that's and see,
Creating something
that's-
from nothing.
That's what just reminded me about that interview with Neil Gaiman that we watched last night on YouTube. He was saying how with the audiobooks, I just lost my train of thought.
I think I know what you're going to say because we're going to be getting into that when we get into into the Sandman stuff. But how with the audiobooks, it was a more direct adaptation.
Adaptation. Yeah, because they had made a comment how in the, thank you for reminding me. See, I knew I married you for a reason. It was that since it was a graphic novel, there'd be a full, like, what was it, 20-minute, 30-minute dialogue of, like, coming from the graphic novel. It was triple the time to just get it into the audio because it's going over all the details of the splash page,
Right.
so that you get a good idea of what it is, and it was just really awesome how it was like just one splash page transferred or translated into an audiobook was longer because of all the details that are being thrown in to what you're seeing on this splash page. So
Oh yeah. It's definitely that way with
I thought it was pretty cool.
with adapting something from one form of media
Being
to
able
another.
to put that much descriptive detail into things, I think, is really awesome because a lot of people, no, maybe not a lot of people, but there's just not as much in depth these days. I'm gonna stop rambling.
Yo,
I did
Perry.
not get enough sleep.
We got Perry lurking in the chat.
Hello, Perry.
But no, to your point. I mean, he even said like the 10 episode first series.
Yeah.
I think is going to be, what did he say? Preludes and Nocturnes and
Yes,
and the Doll's House.
Dollhouse. And
So-
didn't he say they're doing it 10 to 12 episodes?
I think he said 10 is what I want to say.
I think he said 10. I think you're right. It was either 10 to 12, but it was
Yeah.
the first 2 books.
Mm-hmm.
Where it was Dollhouse and
Preludes and Nocturnes.
Preludes and Nocturnes, yeah. And I actually, speaking of the Sandman universe,
Oh,
I got this one today too.
Books of Magic.
I'm super stoked for this. I think Books of Magic is one of my favorite reads of the Sandman universe. I just
So-
bumped you out of your place.
So is that going to be the last one to that? Or was that the one that's going like graphic novel trade only?
Lucifer is the one I think going graphic novel trade.
Okay, and then
And I think it's also House of Whispers.
because the Dreaming wrapped, right?
Yes, and there's a new number 1 of the Dreaming that's coming out that I really want to get.
So it is
It's
number
a-
1. So that one is going to be coming out in singles. I'm just confused by a lot of the Sandman universe stuff, like what they're doing with it.
There's the Dreaming. So they're coming out with a new number 1, and it has a subtitle. It's the Dreaming Waking Hours.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
So-
and that's a number 1. So
And I'm not entirely sure when this came out, but see, like that's the one.
yeah, it's
If you can
a
see
pretty
it clear.
awesome looking cover.
Yeah, but it is a wicked cover, and I really want to read it because like the Dreaming that I did recently read was really good, and I love how it ended. It was just tied up so beautifully and put together so well that I would definitely reread it again.
Oh,
And
wow.
it was just I loved the dreaming. And so when I saw that book cover come out, like I don't know if it's actually already out. Did I miss it? Is it on pre-order? So I have to do some research on that one because I really loved the dreaming. And then Books of Magic, I don't know if they were going to trade paperback, but I know I have 20 out in my to read stack, and that's just about like 3 of these the Sandman Universe ones.
And that one right there is
Yeah.
21.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when the owner of
I
our
re-
LCS was saying how some of the Sandman universe books were going to be going to like trade
Yeah.
only, I think Books of Magic was one of those he was talking about.
I think so. He was talking about the overall Sandman universe in general.
Mm.
House of Whispers, The Dreaming, Lucifer, Books of Magic. I think he was talking about all of them going that way. I know definitely.
That's
I
what it
think it
seemed
for
like.
sure was House of Whispers and Lucifer. But I think Books of Magic might be having more sales because it kind of seemed sales driven of how much they're making.
Well, yeah, I mean,
And then with everything with the pandemic, it's like, okay, are they going to just go ahead and release all these other books that they've already done? Or are they just going to put it in a trade? So that's still kind of pending. But Books of Magic is another one of my favorites because it's
Well,
just so beautifully put.
I mean, especially with DC,
Yeah.
you know, leaving Diamond and kind of
Well, and you know
doing-
what
doing
I love
everything on their
most
own.
about the Sandman universe is that if you go from the Books of Magic to the Dreaming, it's a completely different style. It's a completely different art. Like, of course, it's going to be different
but it's
because
still like
yeah,
cohesive.
yeah, because it's like they have their own format. I mean, of course, it's every artist is going to draw something different every time. You know, they're not going to have the same style all the time, and it's they don't need a match or anything. But what I love is how like Books of Magic stays consistent with their art style. But I love when I was catching up on all of them, going from House of Whispers to Books of Magic. It just was a complete different. Yeah,
Yeah, no, I totally
I
get
ramble.
I totally get where you're coming from.
Anyways, you can share your next book. I'll
So
stop.
this one was kind of like another one of those just like suggested, you know, like how our LCS puts in sometimes. So it looks like it's the Empire tie-in of X-Men, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, Hickman Howard. Yeah, I just didn't know if it was like X-Men or X-Force, but I don't know though, because I mean, honestly, I probably could have just like gave this back to him. Actually, now that I think about it, this one kind of slipped through the cracks, I think, because I'm not even reading the regular Empire, like the main
Is it a number 1?
event. Yeah, it is number 1 of 4, so it's like the Empire tie-in to X-Men. But I mean, I am reading X-Men, so
Give it a shot.
that's what makes me want to
Maybe
read
it's a
it,
sign.
since I am reading X-Men. But I'm just not going to read the Empire main series.
Maybe it's a sign. I wanted to mention what Kachun said is that they're involved in both the comic and cosplay communities. The other one that I've started to see more of is the pop, Funko Pop community.
Yeah.
And I'm coming across more Funko Pop accounts, and it's really awesome. And even my team coach at work, she collects a lot of the pops too, and so it's like she's the reason that we knew about
the Tony
Iron
Stark
Man.
one.
Yeah, about the Tony Stark Iron Man, and she's telling me how she just got a few more, and it's so awesome. I love it.
I mean, we have quite a bit of pops as well, and
We do have quite a bit.
I mean, we collect them, but I mean, we
I just
we
wish
don't
we-
go as crazy as some do, though.
I just really, 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 really wish we would have gotten that Edgar Allan Poe
I know.
at Walmart. Like, I don't know why we passed that up.
I was trying to tell you.
No, I was trying to tell you. Don't blame it on me this time. It's not me. Sometimes you're just as bad as I am. You get it from me. I
Just
swear.
kidding.
I rub off
I'm
on him a
getting
little
all-
too much.
I'm getting all crazy eyes over here.
Oh,
Actually,
goodness
I don't
gracious.
remember who it was on that time. That was more like we need to save, because sometimes it's me, sometimes it's you. So, like I said, I can't really remember.
Yeah, we're working on our budget habits, like our spending habits. It's getting better, slowly
Yeah,
but surely.
it definitely has, because I mean,
It's improved.
I was finding some pretty good shit on the hunt today, and I didn't pick
Yes.
it up.
Sandman Universe was easily top 5 things from comics in the 90s. Yeah, by far. Sandman Universe is so
Yeah.
good. So good.
So there's number 3 from the current Wolverine series. Yo, Carlito.
Hey,
What's
Carlito.
going on, brother?
We still need to watch the Old Guard. We should watch that tomorrow.
Oh, I know.
Tomorrow
We need to get on
yeah.
that.
We'll have to watch that one tomorrow because I've been meaning to watch it, and we still need to watch Umbrella Academy.
Dude, speaking of being better on the budget, guess what our LCS had today? And it's a series I've been saying that I've been wanting to get and read, especially before we watch the show. Granted, when I've been looking at it, I've been looking at a different edition of collections.
Mm-hmm.
The like the complete collection sizes.
Oh, I remember
like
what
the
it was
thicker
now.
ones.
I forgot.
But our LCS had I don't know if it was all of them, but it was books 1 through 12 of
Maybe it was a different one.
The Boys.
Oh yeah, there's the trade paperbacks.
Trade paperback, so just the like 6 issue, the smaller ones. But
I was all proud of myself because I thought for sure I remembered which one you were talking about, and then I was wrong.
Yep.
The one I thought you were talking about was the West Coast Avengers mini 4 issue.
That was the 4 issue.
Yeah, that was in the Prices Marked.
Yeah, and I passed on that too.
Yeah.
And that's usually the one that's really hard to pass on when it's a mini and you find all.
It's like that. It's still hard on me because there's that Sandman one where I found all 6 in one, all together, all in great condition, and I almost got them, and then I realized, well, I have them in trade paperback. I have them in Omni. Do I really need them in single issues when we only have so much that we And the collector pack rat side of me is like, get them, and the budget finance side is like, hey, geek responsibly. So it's a tough line.
The eternal struggle of a collector.
Mm-hmm. The struggle is real.
So, but anyways, like I said, I don't know if it was all of them because I don't know how many trades that full run is or whatever. But yeah, so it was 12 trades for $5 each.
Mm-hmm.
So
It's a good price.
A pretty big damn part of the chunk of the run at the very least for. With our discount and everything, it probably would come out to like $40.
And I've heard good things about The Boys.
Yeah, I've really been wanting to read it. Those complete collection sizes, the one that's like 10 to 12 issue trades.
Yeah.
Those ones I think are like $30 or $40.
I couldn't get into Umbrella Academy, unfortunately. Yeah, well, we still need to get into that one. Like, that's what kind of got us back into comics is when we were up at my grandparents.
Was reading that, yeah.
It was either my brother-in-law's or my niece's book, and you were reading
just
it.
lying around, and I just
And then we're like, hey, let's go to the comic book store. I'm like, okay, I know exactly where to go. It was great.
Looks like here's Batman 95, Joker War Part 1. Looks like we're at the Joker War.
Did I show the Catwoman one last week?
Yeah.
That one, I did because I wanted the variants to them. I still want the variants for those.
And it's the one that...
And I forgot to look to see if they even had the variants.
Yeah, and remember, and it's the one that I noticed that was on Key Collector for...
It was a good issue.
Like $20 or something?
Because it was the first appearance of a new character.
Yeah.
And she could be promising. Like, you need to read it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. And she could be very well promising to, unlike some of the others where they get hyped up and, oh, it's going to be a first appearance. They're introducing a new character. And then by about the 5th or 4th issue, the new characters, and everybody's like, it's not that good of a character.
This one was mostly a cover buy, but I definitely do want to read it. Because I kind of can't quite remember everything that's in it. So it's those Marvel snapshots, but it's the Captain America one and just that Alex Ross cover.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it would look really good on my... Quit banging the table.
I'm not trying to, I promise.
Just hold still.
I like to just swivel in my chair. Some days...
You're like assaulting people's ears when you're doing that.
Nuh-uh.
Oh, whatever.
Some days, the best
But
part
yeah, I
about
thought
my
this would look
day
good on
is the
the-
fact that my chair swivels.
Oh, my God.
Okay? And you know what? Had this not been in the way, you wouldn't even hear it. So, in your face.
In your face.
In your face. Yeah. I forgot what I was saying earlier.
I think you still have a few more to show.
Just 3 more. This one I'm super stoked for. I love it. I love it so much. And I love how the older comics have the approved by the comics code. And I really love how Image is doing this with theirs, where it's the same template as what Proof by the Comics Code used to be. Only it says that our comeback will be bigger than our setback, and I love that. It's so incredible. But I had to get Monstrous because this series is so incredibly good, and I love it. It's like one of the first ones I picked up when we started to get back into collecting.
That first day, yeah.
It was the first one that I really dove into. You see, like, isn't it cool how it shows like the little approved by the Comics Code box thing? But it's that our comeback will be stronger than our setback, and that's what I really
I think
it's awesome. This series is so good, though. There's a lot to it, and it's in depth, and it's
because they're so good at the world building in it too. Like I've only read a small portion of that series so far, but
I love Kippa.
There's a lot of epicness and I want to say grandiosity, but yeah. A lot of grandeur.
It's just so good.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find these in the single issues 1 through 12. No, I have some of them because Downright Nerdy sent me some of them, and then I have some of the others. But Monstrous is like one of my favorite series.
Yo, we got Aggressively Relaxing in the chat. What's going on?
Hey, thanks for joining us. And then the last two that I got is just mostly finishing my completionist in me because I got the first trade, started reading it, set it down, and haven't picked it back up. But because I had gotten the trade, they ended up putting it in the hold, and so I've been getting them. And then I realized, like, I'll probably won't get the 13th issue in time I actually caught up, and I read the first trade and then the 6 through 12. But I got the Die number 11 because I've still been hearing good things about Die, and I still really enjoyed the trade paperback that I was reading.
Yeah, it started hot for damn sure.
Yeah,
it came out swinging.
Yeah, so me setting it down for a moment, not getting back to it, is no in regards to the story itself.
Yeah.
It's just, But this one was in our hold today, was 12, and I thought, well, you know what? Maybe I'll just have 12 be the last one I get because I'm so far behind.
Oh, yeah.
What if by the time I catch up on it, it's something that I'm not as... It's not as good as I thought it was going to be, to where it's like, okay, I could have gone without that, So it's like important to stay up on your to read books because that's how you're going to know if series are worth keeping it and getting each week.
You never know. That issue 12 could end on one hell of a cliffhanger to where you...
That is true.
Where you kind of have to keep going, but...
That is a good point. It could be possible.
That definitely happens, so...
I know I'm going to get some cataloging done after the show and some reading because this stack is just so good.
All right. Okay, so what we're going to get into next is the fan casting The Sandman, the Netflix adaptation.
Yes.
I think oh God, who was it that played him on the Audible version? I think it was James McAvoy.
It was
the kid guy from Wanted.
Sheen.
What?
On the Audible?
That played Sandman. Are you talking about Bernthal and Punisher?
No. He said on the Audible voice one with Kat Dennings.
Oh, Kat Dennings played Death, yeah.
Yeah. Was it Martin Sheen that played Lucifer?
Martin Sheen played Lucifer, right.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought.
Okay, yeah. Martin Sheen played Lucifer.
I just kind of picked up mid-sentence there. Sorry, didn't mean to confuse you.
I was trying to remember who played Morpheus in the Audible version, and I think it was James McAvoy.
I don't remember, but I think you're
right.
From what
I heard. I mean, we haven't listened to it or... which I really... I don't know. I haven't really listened to many audiobooks. I don't know.
2 or 4 bags?
Oh, 2 mil or 4 mil. All of ours are 2. I'm pretty sure. I don't think we've...
Aren't they 2?
Yeah, 2 mil.
I wouldn't mind getting... 4 mil is that, like, thicker?
They'd be thicker, yeah.
Yeah.
Who was it? Someone AOK'd us some books, and remember there was that Mylar that was thicker than most of the Mylar we had, and I think it might have been some of that 4 mil Mylar.
I
want to say it might have been some of the books that Cobby sent to us, but I could be wrong. It could be something else.
I'm weird, and it's like I love wrapping presents around Christmas time because it's so fun to just make it so nice and neat and folded, flat, and perfect that I really like when a comic book fits just perfectly in the right size bag and board.
Yeah,
And then it's just so beautiful, and I just pre-make bags and boards.
yeah, we've definitely talked about the brand combination that we use for our currents.
Yeah, we use different bags
A different,
a different brand of bags compared to a different brand of boards.
boards,
And
they fit perfect.
I really want to get those half backs,
Well, full bags.
full backs.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the ones that are a little thicker. Because some of these other boards I feel like are flimsy, but if they're in the right size bag and board,
Yeah.
that's good.
Well, because we do end up saving boards a lot from when we get some, like if there's crappy bags, we'll save the boards, and we end up double, triple, quadruple boarding some of our more valuable books
That are more
or
presentable that
more
we have on
sentimental
display.
books.
Yeah.
Or books that we have on display that are kind of propped up or something to where we'll give it a more
Sturdy
back. Yeah.
But yeah, good question.
Yeah, it really is, because like I don't think we've messed with 4 mil like at all, really. I mean, I know we've definitely had some.
Nice. That sounds like a good day. Aggressively relaxing. I did not get enough sleep last night. I have not been able to talk all day.
Use words.
Yeah, it's like this morning you woke me up and I was like in a straight panic of like 9 to 5. There's 4 shifts left. What?
I know. I like shaky, like babe, get up. You just like 8 to 4, 9 to 5. There's only 4 shit left. Like just like just going.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Like immediately.
Yeah. And then like right after that, I was like, well, wait, what day is it? Because I was like, it's like after I like woke up mid dream or mid sentence or whatever the hell I was dreaming about, I thought it was like Friday or that it was a work day, and I'm like, don't tell me it's work. I was like, oh, I don't. And he's like, no, it's Saturday, and I'm like, oh, okay.
I'm like, yeah, it's Saturday. You're good. Like, relax.
Yeah, it's been a good Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a really good Saturday.
So, yeah. So, who would you cast as Morpheus?
That I don't know.
I haven't. So we came up with this.
But you know,
we came up with this topic. Because we fan casted a lot of characters and stuff before in the past, and it's always been a fun conversation we've had, even off camera, off show, off stream, whatever you want to call it. But
you know what I just thought of? If one person is in there and they play a certain character, Corinthian, you know who would be good to play Corinthian?
who?
David Tennant.
I mean, I can honestly see David Tennant even as Morpheus, but I
would think David Tennant's a little too small and scrawny for Morpheus.
I mean, look at Morpheus in the original though. I mean, he's not the biggest in that. He is
I could
like
see him
tall and lanky, but I always thought, to me, I mean, I just can't see past like Trent Reznor. In the original Sandman stuff, he looks so much like an older, or actually a younger Trent Reznor. Trent Reznor more back in the day is what I meant by older.
Clearly, again, as usual, and as you guys have been well aware, do not usually plan near as much as he does. So I kind of forgot to look up actors.
No, I haven't even looked up actors. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't like doing that because I like proposing a topic and then we have the discussion, just bam. We don't really talk about it before.
Well,
because it's more organic and natural that way.
Well, yeah, I know what you mean by that, but I mean by like actually looking at male actors, not like necessarily talking about it before, but like looking up different actors, because I'm terrible with names and faces. I'm terrible. I'm rubbish at
which
them.
I'm normally really good at.
Yeah. See, so at that point, it's kind of like, okay, give me a list of male actors. And let me see if scrolling through them, I'm going to see, oh, hey, that person can be Morbius,
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I don't mean like actually going through the process beforehand, you assume.
But that is kind of like the fun of it, though.
But I
I'm
just
trying to remember too. I'm just thinking off the top of your head.
I just can see David Tennant more as a Corinthian.
No, yeah, he would be a good Corinthian.
I mean, I guess I get where you're coming from with him being Morbius. More like it wouldn't be too bad. I feel like he's a little short to be Morbius.
He kind of is, though. Yeah, you're
I could
right.
see Morbius being like somebody not necessarily Matt Smith, but somebody the height of Matt Smith.
Someone with that build and stuff. Like, yeah. He
With
Matt
that-
Smith definitely has the. Honestly, with a lot of. Not necessarily makeup, but with a lot of like
I couldn't quite
wardrobe
see
stuff.
him.
Matt Smith, maybe. I don't know.
I couldn't quite see Matt Smith as him, but as somebody with his similar body height and
At least that for
skinniness,
sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like at least that height, I would think.
Yeah. Yo,
Hey,
Matt. And,
Live for two
Sharon.
YouTubers,
Yeah.
Sharon. I'm Kenny Kyle Waka. Thanks for
Yeah,
joining us. Hi
yeah,
guys.
I got Kyle too from
As I lose my voice
New
and
Zealand, right? I believe.
I
That's
can't
good.
even talk today. We're currently going over. Hey, Magic Lasso. Thanks for joining us, Matt, the boy who had 7. Good to see you all.
yeah, a show must have ended because everyone just dropped in.
Or everybody just stopped over. We're going over our fan cast for Sandman on Netflix because we watched an interview that Neil Gaiman was in last night
Actually-
on YouTube, and there's an interesting thing is
Yeah.
that they're hinting
While we're
they
debating,
that's another thing is
Yeah.
I don't necessarily need a search for a male actor to play Morbius because
that goes into part of it.
they're thinking about doing a gender swap and having Morbius be a woman, which I could see the girl Trinity.
Oh, Carrie Ann Moss.
Yeah, I could see her being
That's
a
a
good
good one.
Morbius.
You know who else? I don't know where the hell she's been hiding because we haven't seen her in anything for a while. Shannon Sossman.
That's the next person I was gonna say. That is
I love
yeah.
Shannon Sossman.
So that I think that would be badass if they do reveal that they are doing a gender swap. I'm losing my voice, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, those. Okay, so it hasn't been a confirmed thing or anything. There's just been stuff floating around that.
Yeah.
Even Neil Gaiman himself in that interview, he's like, well, if I was to write this today, would Morpheus...
Yeah, because he was...
Is there any reason, like, it's a male? Like, is there one thing,
Right.
like, that makes it to where it has to be a male? And he's like, no, so...
Yeah, it's like how I had said earlier is that he's changing some of the story things and key points to fit with the modern times.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what he loves most about it. And honestly, it's like how we were saying that Netflix must have seen how good Good Omens was.
That
Because
had to play a
that's the
part in it.
thing with Neil Gaiman is he has all of the creativity there the same way that J.K. Rowling did in Harry Potter, which is just so glorious. Love Harry Potter. But having Neil Gaiman have that control of auditions and casting and changing the story that he wants, and it's not necessarily somebody else coming in and just butchering it because they think it's going to make more money if they change a plot here, a plot there. Like, it's so many mistakes have been done before in that scenario. But yeah, there's one
Yeah,
other thing
see,
I was gonna
and
say.
I definitely agree, Carlito. When I first heard about it, my initial reaction was that as well.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, I almost don't even want to go down it. But,
Well, yeah, he was like that yesterday too about another
but
topic.
I would
and
love to see Shannon Sossman, though, because I think she can...
honestly though,
She
like,
can even, like, kind of look it, too, because she's kind of at that crazy...
well, it's kind of like what
black
they
hair.
did with Peter Parker and Spider-Man and Aunt May. She's
Well,
no
that was
longer,
just like a younger one.
yeah.
Yeah.
but it's still kind of the same. Not same, but I mean, it's still that change, But it's like change is inevitable. It's always going to happen. There's always going to be change.
I know. Yeah,
But-
that's fine. But
Yeah,
I just hate because how they always say it shouldn't be a thing. It shouldn't be a thing. But they always make it a thing by having to change it into a
Yeah.
thing. It's like
Yeah, Sharon doing. I would like to see Trinity. I can't think of her name. She was
it's
also.
like Carrie Ann Moss or
What was her name in Jessica Jones? was-
Jerry.
Jerry. Yeah, it was Jerry.
Because that
I
was
think-
speaking of which, gender swap right
Yeah,
there.
that was another one. Yeah, I really liked her as Jerry.
Yeah, she was awesome. Yeah.
I loved her as Trinity in The Matrix. I think it could be good. Hey, I can't talk. I meant to say, hey, Ray D. Thanks for joining
Exactly.
us.
Yeah, like Matt said it. That's the best way to put it. Not a fan of doing it just to do it.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if it makes sense, and so say they do it for this.
Right.
They make Morpheus a woman, and it just crushes, and it's so good.
Well, it goes back to saying how Neil
salute to
Gaiman
them,
said.
but-
It goes back to how he said that in shifting it to a more modern, where it's like
Right.
back in those days, it would be unthinkable to have a woman play. Because for the longest
'cause
time,
he- 'cause he
women
kinda
wouldn't even
did
wear
say-
jeans.
Yeah.
They were always in skirts and stuff. So it's like
Yeah.
updating some stuff. It comes with changes constant. But how he had stated, even updating it to a different time of era and what's going on in the world, changing some of these characters, it
No, I get it. In this sense,
it-
it makes sense. Like
yeah.
it does,
Yeah.
and like the way he and again like the way he said it is like, is there something that makes it to where it has to be a male that plays Morpheus? And he's
See,
like,
and I like that they
"No,
have
like, there
that
isn't a
creative
thing."
freedom to where it's like, okay, if we want to change this character, we can. But
Yeah.
with Neil Gaiman, he's not doing it just to do it. He's doing it to because it's like in his
Gaiman's the king. What if?
it's like the
kinda
trailer
guy.
for his masterclass that they were doing, like those master classes you'd
Yeah.
see all over the place. And his little trailer was always that writing a novel is like driving down a road, very foggy road with only one headlight on. And then by the time you get to the end, you don't know how it was something about with one headlight on, and then by the time you get to the end, you make it look as if you knew what you were doing all along.
Yeah.
Whereas throughout the process, it was more random, just how is this going to tie in with that? How is that going to tie in? But you just kind of make it, by the end of it, look like it was all supposed to be that way. And that's what I love about Neil Gaiman's writing. Like, I would love to see his sketchbook of his, like, thing.
They came out with some the annotated editions of some of his books. They've been doing that.
It reminds me of how I write, on how I'm still trying to do my book. And it's like, even when I leave notes, it's like, it's so scattered.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it's like all over the place. But then you have other people that when they do stuff, they do like the actual spiderweb thing where it's like concept, plot, story arc.
It's a lot cleaner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm more scrambled.
Yeah, and
got
in that interview, he even
Yeah.
even spoke a lot about that, about looking back at how he was when he wrote it, and
I agree with you, Carlito. If anyone can pull the swap, it's Gaiman.
it's game. Oh, for sure.
See, that's
Yeah,
like
for
if
damn
it's
sure.
like a Joss Whedon one, then I'm like, why?
Yeah.
Why would you do that? But because it also depends on the creator of what it is they're swapping.
Yeah,
'Cause-
because Gaiman, like I just love Neil Gaiman.
I just don't want it to feel like they are checking things off a list to appeal to X category when it wouldn't make sense.
Exactly.
Yeah, agreed.
See,
And that's the difference. Is like
yeah,
if
they're,
it was
they're
like
saying it better than I was.
yeah, for example, like if it was Joss Whedon, I'd be like, no, you're doing it just to do it. Neil Gaiman, no, I'm doing it because I realized a different perspective of something else that's going to tie in and is going to be a completely plot twist that improvises the
that's
story.
Gaiman. He's
Yeah,
the king of what if
exactly.
this? What if that? Like,
Yeah. So I'm not saying I'm against it, like that.
or like it has to be.
Yeah. I'm not saying I'm I'm not sick of it, but it depends on who's changing it and why they're changing
It's
it.
definitely case by case. And
Yeah. Because like if it was to be Joss Whedon changing something, I wouldn't think that'd be a good idea. I mean, we saw how terribly
he's
he
messed it
failed
up.
with the mustache. It's like there's certain ones that you can tell they do it just to do it, and others that are doing it for a reason behind their madness. There's a method to it. There's that in them doing so, they have something bigger planned, that in order for it to be as big as it's going to be, they change that detail. And that's what I love about Neil Gaiman and his trailer for the master classes. It's like you're
I
driving.
know. I really want to see those.
You may not think it's at a point where it makes sense, but by the end, you make it act like you knew you were doing all along, when halfway through you had no idea. And that's what I love about Neil Gaiman.
See, and as an artist, I mean, he's an author. He's an artist too, obviously, but a different form than what I am. But as the form of artist that I am, I could totally see what he means by that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, but just in a different form.
Agreed.
Oh God, what was I just gonna say? Yeah, it was right there. It was. Oh, yeah, but in that interview, he was saying how the Audible series was it was a nice control.
Yeah.
Because that was a direct adaptation to where now with the Netflix series, they can kind of,
which
they could play with it a little bit.
Was a very interesting insight. What'd you say?
Giggity. Because I said with this one they could play
you
with it.
guys should have seen us earlier. We got back from running our errands and we're sitting out there on the couch and he had said something and I had said something, but we both didn't hear what the other one said. So we both just stopped mid-sentence and looked at each other like, what'd you say? Like
at the exact same time we both went like,
at the exact same time we did the same thing. But no, what I was going to say in the video we watched on YouTube with Neil Gaiman is the insight to casting. Because the way with the audiobook and how he was able to get the actors to do the voices, that Martin Sheen that did Lucifer, Michael Sheen, yeah, I am so bad with names. Michael Sheen, who did the voice of Lucifer, he loves the Sandman books. He loves the Sandman universe. He loves going and being in a studio to be Lucifer for the audiobooks.
I mean, he's a good friend of Neil Gaiman.
Yeah,
too.
Exactly. He's a good friend of Neil Gaiman's too, but also how there could be actors that you have in mind that you think would be perfect, but there's contracting conflict, and then there's time conflict. And, it's not really much of an insight, but the way that he put it was like, you can think that this actor is going to be perfect for the role, and then they come in, audition, start brainstorming ideas, and you realize, no, it's a conflict, it's too big of a gap in difference of the portrayal of what they're going for, but it also comes down to like who's available, who's been where, so those things factor into it too, that it's like you got to have more than one choice or more than one idea for each character on which actor is going to play that character, because it could come down to a contract conflict or a scheduling conflict, or they're just not available, or a busy schedule.
I mean, he even said, or just straight up, they just don't want to do it. I mean, there is,
or they don't want to do it. Yeah, because there's. But that's what he liked about Michael Sheen, was that he knew that he didn't have much time in the time that he did Lucifer.
But he went out of his way to make it work.
He went out of his way to make it work, and that's when when you're doing it for passion, for reason, it's so beautiful. There's so much. What they put together is so much better when there's like that passion behind it.
Here's another interesting to think about with this series too. We've spoken before in the past how it would be so awesome if they did like some kind of backdoor pilot in the Lucifer Netflix show with Morpheus, do some kind of backdoor pilot into that, have it in like the same universe thing. But it's kind of torn. It's like it's this weird thing, because I would love to see Michael Sheen play Lucifer in this too, but how it would be awesome if they tie it to the current Lucifer Netflix show. Like, you would kind of need the Tom Ellis Lucifer.
That reminds me, I saw something somewhere that they're thinking of having a backdoor pilot to the Sandman on another Netflix series, but it wasn't Lucifer, and I'm trying to remember which one it was.
What?
Yeah.
You heard something about that and you didn't, after we had been...
Well, that's the thing. I could be wrong, because I could have sworn I saw something on YouTube when I was scrolling.
What other series would it be, though?
That's what I'm trying to think. I'll have to get back to you, because I'm not 100% sure on that one. It could just be all in my head. I mean, how many times have I thought I listened to you?
You might just be thinking of how we've been saying for a long time, how we've been saying they should...
No, it was like, I could have sworn I saw it somewhere. It was a different one. I'm gonna have to look into it, because I could have sworn.
I don't know. Maybe you guys have heard something about their.
Because it's a different show on Netflix that they're thinking. Or it could have been in the interview. No.
No.
I could be hearing voices, but I swear there was something I mean, yeah, it's every day I hear voices, and sometimes they're mean.
Take your
Sometimes they're
meds.
just. I do. I did. I have been all week. I promise. They slip through the cracks, man. It's not my fault.
That just made no sense. You're saying how you've been taking them all week, but then they slip through the.
The voices, no, whether I'm on my
Oh.
meds or not my meds.
The
Like,
voice,
so
okay,
whether
yeah.
I'm on my meds or I'm off my meds, it's like, even I could be on my meds just fine and I still hear voices, the chatter and like
That's
music, and it's weird. It trips me out sometimes. I'm like looking around and yeah, but I've gotten used to it now. You made me lose my train. I'm gonna look it up later and see, and if because I could have sworn it was something along the lines of like a backdoor, but then again at the same time it could have been like a clickbait thing that I saw, because it was like
maybe like
because you know in how fan made videos will try and make a fanatic will try and make a trailer for an upcoming season, but they're manipulating all these other old scenes to make it look like
yeah,
it's new.
like fan
See,
made
so it could have been
trailers and-
something like that. So I could be wrong. It could have been the voices. I don't know, but I'm gonna look into it because I could have sworn it was something along those lines,
No.
and I thought like
I mean, honestly, one of the coolest fan made kind of like trailer video things I had seen.
mhm.
They cut the footage together of like Infinity War and like Man of Steel and all this stuff. They cut it together so perfectly to where it honestly looked like Superman, like Henry Cavill Superman versus Thanos.
Oh yeah,
from,
that was
like,
a really
Infinity
good
War
one.
and Endgame.
I'm
It
a
was
sucker for some of
so-
those
Yeah, it was so good. I
Those,
really wish
like,
I could remember who did
fan
it.
made videos where there's even the I Still Need You, but there's been some really good Punisher ones too.
Yeah,
And there's been some really good Lucifer ones where it's like
yeah, we watch a lot of those.
that one dude, I can't think of his name.
The
The one that did the
what?
I'm thinking, hold on.
Do, do, do.
I can't think of his name, but there's a Lucifer one.
What does this button do?
What's oh goodness gracious. No, you like what's his you really like him as a singer.
Okay.
And it's like at the tip of my tongue. It's
Corey Taylor.
no. I'm no good at goodbyes.
I'm not-
Or I'm too good at goodbyes. You know.
Oh, I know. It's like on the.
Yeah, see that one. Like James or something.
I know that's gonna bug me.
He did one where it was a Lucifer one, and it was something about like muse or fire or desire.
Yeah, there was that good.
It was a really good one. And I can't think of it
yeah,
now.
I can't remember.
I did wanted to say that Carlito had said how this is why he loves and respects something like the old guard badass original female characters. So yeah, that's what I'm super stoked for. That's one thing I have heard. So we'll have to watch that Sunday.
Speaking of old guard and kind of fan casting and all that stuff, remember when we saw the old guard trailer for the first time? What I said?
Mm.
Seeing Charlize Theron with her hair like that and that color and everything, I was like, "That's my fan cast for Catwoman."
Yeah, she would do
Looking
good.
just like that.
Mhm.
Granted, she's almost at that point to where she's kind of almost aging out of that character, but
Possibly.
right now, like how she is, right, like in that trailer at least that I saw, and how
She
she
could
looked
be
and
good.
everything, right there, that's my Catwoman.
It seems to me that Americans are bigger fans of the British writers than the English are. I know this because I'm English living in Australia. I agree with
I
you
can see that.
100% because there's some really good shows. Like one of my favorite all-time channels over even the Sci-Fi Channel is BBC. They had a show over there that was Being Human. It was so good. I loved it. I loved it so much, and it was another show that my mom got me into. And then they decided to bring it over to America, and they did it as an American version, and I could not get into it. Like I ended up bumping, like, you know, coming across other friends that were loved the American version because they had never even seen or heard the British version, and they thought it was an original American one, when really they didn't even change the script. They didn't change, you know, they had different actors, different ethnicity, or however you say that word, but it was
was almost
repeated
like
word
a
for word.
direct,
It was like verbatim of the same episode, just like Dead Eyes and Dead Rabbit, the first couple issues.
Oh, how they were still the same.
It was completely the same, and I could not get on board as the American one. I'm like, nope, British came first, and BBC did it a lot better. I missed that show because it was actually a really good show, Being Human.
Yeah, I mean,
It was. I loved it.
I mean, another way to look at that too is, I don't know if he meant it this way, but another way you can look at it too is like how Americans, you know, what Americans think, you know, how they, like, probably Americans are a bigger fan of English writers than maybe like English people are. It's kind of how I took it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I took it.
Which I could definitely see that too, because you look at all the great writers over time. Most of them are from over there. You know, most of them are British.
You know, some of the other ones that I loved that are like just so incredible as well and aren't around anymore. Are You Being Served?
Oh yeah,
I love that
all those
one.
old shows. Yeah,
Yeah.
I used to watch
Those
growing
old British nighttime shows, sitcoms were so good.
Keeping Up
So good.
Appearances.
Keeping Up Appearances was really
Love
good.
that one.
And Are You Being Served? I remember watching that one with my grandparents all the time, and it would just be so funny. I loved Are You Being Served? Michael, yeah, I agree. Michael Sheen would be perfect for Sandman, but it could be schedule conflict, you know, so it depends on if he's available and who is available and who they have. But there was something else. Picked up first Sandman, half price. Ooh, nice. I wish we had a half priced.
I know.
Want a half
I want a
priced
half
book
price so bad.
So bad.
We've had rumors of getting one, you know, in our surrounding area for quite a long time, but it's just never happened yet.
I can't wait to retire. I'm like, I need to get a good 401k because you know what? When I retire, I'm just going to travel and go to different cons and go to different comic book stores like all over the country.
That's the
I'm
dream.
just going to like go to everyone in every state.
Take our show on the road.
Well, we'll still have a house because, I mean, we need a place to store our comics. They won't fit in a trailer, in a motorhome. But I want to be able to travel.
The traveling Married with Issues show.
When I retire, that's my retirement plan. I'm not gonna get stir crazy. I'm just gonna fucking retire and go to different comic book stores all over the country and just buy comics and go to cons
and see all you rad people.
Exactly.
Go hunting. All right, real quick, I want to mention my. I had actually meant to do this last week, but I had forgot to bring the books in.
Lucifer variant.
To do it with.
Ooh,
but
I love variants.
My pressing issue, real quick, is I don't know how I'm not hearing anybody talk about this series, like at all. Period. At least in the community, because that's obviously most of the people we watch and follow and talk to, and but Ta-Nehisi Coates' Captain America series. So there's the first trade. This is actually the second edition though of book 1. So it's actually the cover of issue 2, which I have on my cap display right behind the camera. Which this Alex Ross cover, holy cow!
We need to wrap up because I want to hop into DK and Comics and Cosplay Comics to Cosplay episode 2.
Has it started, or I mean, we're kind of roughly about at our time.
Yeah, it's going.
Even though, God, I still have a lot of stuff to get into.
That's okay. We always get next week.
Yep. But yeah, so this series, here, hold that one. And then here's books 2. Move that one. And book 3 right there. Which it's another run that has been having some incredible Alex Ross covers, much like the Immortal Hulk series.
Yeah.
And I believe Alex Ross has still been doing them, even up until, I think one of the newest issues was like 21, I think. And
yes.
Yeah, these trades get you up to 19, but this series is really good. I mean, it's still dealing a lot with. I'm not going to spoil anything or anything like that, but it's really dealing with the fallout from like Secret Empire.
And I'm brain dead. I'm trying to remember.
Just mostly Secret Empire, I think.
It's there's a word for it. You cut off the head, 2 more go back.
Oh. Hail Hydra is usually what they say after they say
Hydra. Yeah, that's what it was. Hydra. I knew it was something with an H.
Hydra cap.
Hydro cap. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the fallout after that. Still dealing very much so, you know, with a country that doesn't quite trust him.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's been really good. I mean, Ta-Nehisi Coates is an excellent writer, and I just don't know how I haven't just really seen people really talking about it, you know, or mentioned like, or even anyone even really getting the issues. You know, when we're watching people's haul videos, like I don't really see people getting the singles. I mean, I did the same thing with this run, the same thing we did with Immortal Hulk, and it's because those gorgeous Alex Ross covers. We had enough of the singles to where, okay, like I'll only get the covers. You know, we stopped getting the singles, and now we just get it and read it in trade. But I still keep an eye on the covers to where if there's one that's just like mind-blowingly like, dope,
these two
we'll still get. But
they had the variants for these, and I honestly liked cover A more. These were both cover A. And I just, out of the two, I really liked them more than I'm like, yeah, I'll go with the original one. Because sometimes it's not always about the variants, you know? Sometimes it's like,
yeah, there's actually quite a few times I can think of when the main cover's better than the variant. Yeah,
YouTube acting up a fool.
What?
But yeah, I say we wrap that up. Because I need a cigarette and I want to support Kachoon and Bake and
I do want to check out their show. And
I do want to go. You guys know I do my best to keep up with the chats and be in everybody's show and say hi. But sometimes it gets to be a bit much. It's the same thing with Instagram posts and responding back to tags. That it's like don't take it personal when I don't do it. It's just that sometimes I don't have the energy to keep up with it.
Well, and we also forget about it and get sucked down some rabbit hole of something. And because keep in mind, we are Scatterbrain Productions isn't just the name of our.
We got issues, guys.
Yeah.
We got all the trade paperbacks. We got more than issues.
Yeah.
We're bad.
Yeah. Squirrel.
Yes.
All right, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I had a lot of other stuff I wanted to get into. We had a bunch of news. I wanted to go through all the Eisner Awards, all the winners, so we'll have to do that next week.
Yes, we'll do that next week because we're already at an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, and I mean, and we're still trying to pop on, during the week. We're still trying to figure out schedules to have stuff during the week. Like, I'm trying to bring Daily Dose back, which, I don't know, you're not listening. All right, so on that note, thank you guys so much for hanging out, for listening, for checking us out.
Live long and prosper from the one that never listens. What?
Yeah, something to that effect. We love you guys. Stay safe.
Thanks so much for joining us and hanging out with us for today. It's been great. We're going to hop out now, so be kind to one another.
May all your issues come true.
Yes.